We received this question: is my anxiety affecting my relationship, or is my relationship affecting my anxiety? Well, most often it's both. Here are 3 reasons why. First, behaving in an apprehensive manner creates the state of being anxious, anxiety. Worry is an example of apprehensive behavior. Whenever we are anxious, the body produces a stress response. The more anxious we are, the more stress responses we experience. Since stress responses push the body beyond equilibrium, its balance point, stress responses stress the body. The more stressed the body becomes, the more symptomatic it can become. When the body becomes overly stressed and symptomatic, it can affect how we think and feel about ourselves, others, and how we relate to others. In this case, overly apprehensive behavior can affect our relationships. Recovery support members can visit the Mood and Emotions section in the Symptoms chapter, Chapter 9, for more information about how anxiety symptoms can affect how we think and feel. Second, a struggle with problematic anxiety is almost always caused by unhealthy underlying factors. These include behaviors such as people-pleasing, unrealistic expectations, unhealthy boundaries, low self-esteem, perfectionism, all-or-nothing thinking, catastrophizing, and a host of other behaviors that create anxiety and relationship problems. In this case, our relationships are going to be affected by anxious behavior. And third, because of our unhealthy behaviors, anxious people often get into unhealthy relationships. Unhealthy people generally attract unhealthy people. Stormy, unpredictable, insecure, and unrewarding relationships are notorious for causing angst and lots of stress. So in this case, our relationships can be overly stressful and a major source of anxiety. To improve the quality of our relationships, which can dramatically reduce the amount of angst and stress coming from them, it's best to identify and successfully address the underlying factors of problematic anxiety. Doing so will not only eliminate a struggle with problematic anxiety, but will also revolutionize your relationships, making them more enjoyable, rewarding, fulfilling, and successful, and far less stressful. As you know, unless the root of the problem is addressed, which are anxiety's underlying factors, it's unrealistic to expect to experience a healthy outcome. Working with an experienced anxiety disorder therapist is the most effective way to address anxiety's underlying factors. So again, yes, anxiety can affect your relationships, and your relationships can affect your anxiety. Becoming psychologically and emotionally healthy, and then choosing a partner who has also done this work, will eliminate this twofold problem. Marilyn, we received a question from a female member that asks, is my anxiety affecting my relationship, or is my relationship affecting my anxiety? What's your view on this?
Well, Jim, I agree with the answer at the website. I really believe it is both.
Why do you believe it's both?
Well, because anxiety is caused from the inside out. Anxiety personalities have unhealthy thoughts and behaviors that cause anxiety internally and cause them to have problems in relationships. People who have developed these unhealthy thoughts and behaviors tend to get involved in dysfunctional relationships.
Can you give me an example of how this could occur?
Well, one of the unhealthy characteristics of the anxious personality is people-pleasing. So, for example, people-pleasers set themselves up to be in relationship with controllers. We often see this combination. Now, most often the controller is male and the people-pleaser is female, although occasionally it is the other way around. Now, controllers are happiest when they are unchallenged and able to control everything and everyone around them. They feel powerful and respected when they succeed. Now, people pleasers tend to avoid and fear confrontation. They typically have low self-esteem and are concerned about people rejecting them. Rejection means that they will be abandoned or left alone, and that's a problem for them. Now, as a result, they'll comply with the controller's requests and demands in order to keep the peace in the relationship. Now, the pleaser tends to have a terrible life while the controller feels that life is good. Typically, the anxiety sufferer is in a difficult life circumstance. Their relationships are causing them anxiety, and at the same time, their own thoughts and behaviors are contributing to their anxiety.
What do you think is the best way for this person to resolve this dilemma?
Well, some people can self-help themselves using good information, while most people will require the skill of a personal counselor or coach to help them resolve their issues.
What ways can a coach or counselor help that self-help information can't?
Well, first of all, the coach can quickly identify those areas that she's struggling in, which is an important process because for most people, those areas are pretty invisible to them and they won't be able to find them on their own. Secondly, utilizing a step-by-step process, the coach will help her to address those areas. Third, the coach can keep her accountable to her progress, can keep her on track, and can help her through those missteps as she learns to implement new behaviors and reframe thoughts. And then last of all, the coach can assist her in identifying when this process is completed and she's no longer affected.
Well, great. I appreciate your comments.
You're welcome.